Hello, everyone, and welcome to another resume review. These resume review services are free for students, new grads, and professionals who are trying to transition to software industry. If you'd like a resume review like this, please connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a DM with your resume. All right, so let's get started with today's session. All right, so the first resume we have today is Maz Qureshi. So I'll go over first what is good on this resume. So it's a single page resume. It's a clear format. I see Maz has listed his GitHub, so that's the first place I'll go. Okay, I'll randomly pick up repository. Let's say this one, projects. Okay, all right. All right, so now what are the things to improve on this resume? So the first comment I have is the repositories, not all of them, but at least some of them should have a README file. So that if I'm a recruiter and I'm trying to glance over your GitHub portfolio, I'd like to have at least some idea of what that project is about, right? So having a README file in each of your repository is a good practice. It doesn't have to be an essay. It could be just few lines of saying, hey, this is the project I worked on. This is the specific tools I used in this project. It just gives a summary of that particular project. In terms of the resume itself, I see you have listed a number of items under your skills. So typically, you'd only list few skills, let's say 4 to 6 skills. If you're listing that many skills, that tells me a few things. First of all, you're not sure which path you're trying to go, like front end, back end, DevOps. You don't have a specialty. Second of all, it really questions your actual ability of these tools in a deeper level. That means if I see that you're still an engineering student and you had maybe an internship and a junior level role, uh, can you really be an expert? Because you have like 5 out of 5 bar, right? Can you be an expert of ASP.NET, .NET Core, SQL Server, C Sharp, Bootstrap, Material UI, and you also listed a bunch of other tools which you have a pretty solid level of understanding. It just doesn't make much of a sense. So what it seems that you listed any and every tool that you probably even used just a single project for. So just to give an idea of what you should include in this skills section, it should be those skills that you're reading off in the job description, not everything. If you're applying for a front end role, and then if 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 the skills, if the job is about Java, you probably don't need to include, um, let's say, automated testing. So although you include any testing framework related to Java, but not something that is completely unrelated at all. And then having so many skills, it really questions how much you actually know about the skills. The other feedback I have is regarding the the sequencing of your job experience. So typically you have the latest job at the very top, but here I see your full stack job. That is the one that's still going on. That is May 2020 to present. But what you have listed here is junior software engineer is positioned above that, which goes from November 2019 to March 2019. Doesn't make much sense. Probably it's the other way. But then again, you have an internship in the middle. How did you have like overlapping jobs, right? So the sequencing is probably not right. And when I read the job descriptions, it's very generic. Debugging and fixing existing software, adding new functionality to existing software. I have the repeat debugging and fixing existing software, and like you see how it looks from a recruiter point of view. It doesn't give me any idea, doesn't add any value. Like, what is this existing software? How did you debug? What improvement did you make? What functionality did you add? So it's just so many question marks. um, and yeah, I mean, train and develop internees. um, I don't know if internee is a word, but yeah, if you're a junior dev yourself, or an intern, no one is expecting you to do training. But if you do list that, be a bit more descriptive on how you were the the domain expert in one skills, and then how you did the knowledge transfer on those. um, Hope that helps, Mass. All right, so let's go to the next resume. So we have Minhas Tariq, chemical engineer. So a disclaimer, I don't have much idea about the chemical engineering industry. Most folks who send me a resume, they are trying to apply to software engineering industry. So I'll review your resume as of you are applying to a software engineering role. All right, so that's a heads up. So I'll go over what are the good things in this resume. It's a single page resume. It's pretty clean and it's not cluttered, so I can easily read this resume. Okay, so what are the things that could be improved? So first of all, you could be a chemical engineer and you're trying to transition to software industry. Um, then your your title or your um, your profile section could reflect that. uh, Chemical engineer transitioning to software industry, and did this boot camp and gained these skills and trying to use these skills to do something, right? So you should highlight the fact that you are transitioning to software industry, and these are the skills you have developed. PC number might be something that is relevant to the chemical industry, but you don't need to include that if you're applying for software engineering roles. Final year project, if you're applying to software engineering roles, this is not relevant. And again, Aspen HYSYS is probably that is also relevant to chemical engineering, but not related to software. um, and regardless of any engineering roles, you don't need to include your expertise in Photoshop, unless you're applying to a UX UI role. And then again, you don't need to say that you know MS Office or you know Windows. It is expected that anyone and everyone will know how to use Windows, how to use MS Office suite. And a big no-no would be to include your personal data like this, because that's a recipe for disaster, because someone could use your personal data and steal your identity. I don't know what a CNIC number is, but if it's something like a social security number, um, it's a big no-no to put it on your resume. But yeah, I'm not sure, because it could also be something related to your particular industry, which is the chemical engineering industry. But yeah, if you're applying for software roles, your resume probably should go under a major revamp. And I'll comment on what to include on the profile section later. Overall, there needs to be some major reconstruction of this resume. Hope that helped me, Has. And let's go over the last resume for today. So Muhammad Sami. Okay, I'll go over the good stuff first. I see you have your portfolio listed here. So I'll try to go there. So it didn't load. Okay, so I see it didn't load the last section of your portfolio. All right, so now I see your website. So that's actually a feedback, because not all recruiters would catch that. They would probably click it, and if it didn't load, they'd think that your website is broken. So try to change the format so that it's at the top. It's very clear in one line. So your resume broke down the link into two lines. That's why I couldn't see it at the first time. Okay, so I have your GitHub listed here. Uh, you didn't include your GitHub on your resume. I don't think so. So that's something you should include. But actually, I'll focus on the good stuff first. So let's go over any of your projects, to-do list. Okay, all right. Uh, Angular crash to-do list. Okay, so I like that you have a nice README, which is saying that what this project is about. Okay, you have two comments, which typically for a software project like this, you'd probably have way more comments because you'd keep working on this project, and you'll have comments as you develop the code, right? Right, use, let's see if you have, so I'm on your portfolio site, but I'm expecting to see some portfolio, but all I have is just these links. So I'm not sure if that is intended or not. How about if I go to the root? Okay, so that's not nothing there. Okay, passport. All right. So what could be improved? First of all, three-page resume is a big no-no. Imagine if you're a recruiter or a hiring manager and have only 15 to 20 seconds, no one would be able to read all this, right? So keep your resume to a single page, and you don't need to include like 20 different bullet points for your work experience. You only need to include three or four or maximum five of the key accomplishments of that work experience. Um, so I see your skills actually overlaps into multiple pages. Again, you don't need that. You probably could use a smaller section and mention only the core skills. So for example, you listed programming as a skill. Like if you're applying for a software engineering role, how could be programming a skill, right? Skill could be Java, skill could be Python. Um, those are not what you mentioned, like software best practices. These are not the core skills that a recruiter is trying to look for as a keyword in your resume. Okay, and um, I like these website. I've already checked them out. These are cool websites, but the way you have listed here on your resume, it looks more like a portfolio, and not a resume. So you don't need to include these with pictures on your resume. If you'd like to know more about what a typical resume format looks like, you can um, Google, or you can look at my previous resume reviews and refer to those. So key points are single page. The skills should be core skills. The work experience should only highlight the key accomplishments, in a way that shows what you did, how you did it, and how it helped the business. And then, of course, if you have projects, if you have education, you can list those. But nothing beyond that, because you only have a single page. All right, so that's it for today's resume review. But I'll answer two questions actually, which I received on LinkedIn. So the first question is, how long my resume should be. I think I already answered that when I was doing the last resume review. uh, Almost always a single page, because I think most people who are asking me resume reviews are still in their schools or new grads or have been in the industry for less than 10 years. So for all of you, the default answer is a single page. And the second question is how to write the summary profile section on my resume. All right, so that's a good question. And let me stop sharing. So there's a difference of opinions in the industry. So some people say don't need to include any summary or profile section on your resume at all. because recruiters will probably just go to the skills section and try to find if it matches to the job description. But some folks say that you can really use that 2 or 3 lines to catch a recruiter or hiring manager's attention. So if you do include a summary or profile section on your resume, it should be somewhat like this: full stack software engineer with 5 years of experience, with open source contribution in XYZ project, looking to join this company and contribute to this specific project. I'm just giving an example, but this shows that what core skills you have, with how many years of skills you have, if you have contributed to open source or not, and how your skills would help the company or the business. So basically, you're really focusing to one specific piece or team of the company, and not coming up with a generic line that looking to join this company to use my skills, passionate about programming or excellent communication skills. So these sort of generic lines are big no-no in your resume. It's just eating away valuable spaces and not bringing any value. So yeah, if you do want to include the summary of profiles, then you can also do a quick Google how to write a kick-ass resume summary. But if you would like to take away on the few points, that would be concise, 2 to 3 lines max. Use points which shows the core skills you have used, how many years of experience you have on those skills. If you have worked on any open source projects, yes, yes. And then be very specific and customize to each company. So, for example, if you're trying to join IBM Cloud uh, and in DevOps, so how your skills could help IBM Cloud's DevOps team. So customize your resume, customize the summary section as well. And yeah, well, the internet is there for you. You could Google, you could YouTube, and keep making your resume better. So that's it for today. Hope it helped. And if you'd like to have your resume reviewed as well, all you need to do is connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a request. Take care and all the best for your career.